Hello, folks. Welcome back to Wildfire Africa. This is Chris. The nonsense, the violence, the looting, the utter chaos unfolding in South Africa continues in the days after the surrender of former President Jacob Zuma to correctional authorities a day late. That's right. He did not comply with the order. The fake news, the fake stream, lamestream, mainstream media, which is lying to you, telling that Jacob Zuma complied, taking their orders from the Jacob Zuma Foundation, which is distracting you from the truth. Jacob Zuma was supposed to turn himself in on the 4th of July. He failed to do so. The South African Police Service Minister of Police, the Commissioner of Police, had a responsibility to arrest him by midnight on the 7th, 3 days later. They failed to do so. At 23:20 on the 7th, his motorcade of protected detail drove out of Nkandla, his palatial mansion in desperately poor KwaZulu-Natal, to drive to Estcourt to surrender to Estcourt correctional authorities. He arrived there sometime well after midnight, which would mean that not only did he violate the court order and put himself in contempt, but the police commissioner and the minister of police, Beckett Seeley, are also in contempt, but there's no been discussion of that. Other events have unfolded since then. So-called supporters and defenders of Jacob Zuma, who claim that he's a political prisoner and claim that he's unjustly incarcerated without even paying remote attention to the reason he's actually in jail, have been burning, looting, attacking. The focus initially on the first couple days was on the N3 highway in KwaZulu-Natal, disrupting shipments from the port of Durban into the heart of interior of Africa and throughout South Africa. But it has been spreading from there as the government has sat by and done virtually nothing. Police doing nothing to arrest these people. By the way, folks, in case you're unaware of it, in South Africa, there is a current prohibition on gatherings. 2 people's a gathering. Certainly 3,000 people's a gathering. Hundreds of people looting and burning things are gathering. And no one arrested for this. Now we see reports of as many as 62 people being arrested, but thousands should have been arrested the first night when this occurred, violating curfew, violating gatherings, violating social distancing requirements, not wearing facial masks, looting, burning, destroying. Most of the people been directly affected by this have been black-owned businesses in South Africa who've lost their businesses as their trucking industry is virtually brought to a standstill and trucks looted and burned. This is now spread into Gauteng. Listen to what this young lady has to say about what's going on. And notice that Jacob Zuma is not a political prisoner, and this lady says it very clearly as she explains what's stupid about what these people are doing.
Wish that you would realize that nowadays, now in 2021, the war on black people is being waged by the ANC. It is not what you think it is. Who do you think took the 500 billion of COVID funds? Who? You're so wrapped around Jacob Zuma as a concept, as a loyalist, that you fail to actually see what did he do? What did he do for you? Show me the schools that he went to, the rural areas and the townships and fixed. Show me the areas of the townships where he has improved service delivery. Show me how the grant has improved year on year when he was actually the president. Have people been earning more money? Have they been left in the gutter? Has minimum wage significantly improved? Was crime in the country significantly improved? Oh, he did nothing. Anti-free education. What do you mean? Like, he didn't even give that to you when he was the president. Going to jail for contempt of court. How is that against black people? Huh? State capture was a war on black people. People's living conditions in the townships, in the rural areas, service delivery. Tell him, girl, these things that all of these loyalists fight for. You act like he fixed them when he was the president. No, he made it worse. I refuse to believe that you would willingly be this blind to the truth, to be loyal to some guy that you never met. Hope you're getting paid for this, because you are wasting your own time.
The following compilation of footage comes from Johannesburg, in particular from Hillbrow section, Johannesburg, once a prosperous downtown part of the city that decades ago fell into disrepair and disrepute. It's quite dangerous. You'll see the unbelievable nonsense as people march through the streets, violating all norms, and then start attacking police. You'll see also this car make a mistake driving through the area, get stoned and attacked, and then the driver try to escape and lose control. It sounds like gunfire, but it's difficult to ascertain. South Africa has fallen apart, folks. It's utterly bursting at the seams with lawlessness. And this is a consequence of the government of Cyril Ramaphosa and the African National Congress tolerating violence. They've been tolerating violence in the form of rural murders and farm murders for decades, ignoring the plight. They've done very little to stop the brazen daylight cash in transit heist that result in the murder of the employees carrying the cash. They've done nothing to stop looting, home invasions, an average of 60 murders per day, rampant gender-based violence, And this is what happens. When you have a culture that tolerates violence, you have people who do things with impunity. The only answer to this is arrest and detention. This compilation, as I said, starts in Joburg and goes from there.
Johannesburg is shaking as I'm speaking right now. It's very bad. As you can hear the noise, people are running all over the street. Jozi is becoming something else. It says here, Fana, KZN.
Okay, Mutu. Shaka, can I go driver seat, please? Shaka, can I go driver seat?
Driver.
I could drive. Go on. Can I go driver seat? I'll never write you next time. Wednesday, easy.
Jesus! Ow, bantu! Halina mara. Accident mara abekho fair.
Qeda
Bayishaya
bamsecha.
So never gonna palame N1. Jesus. So lang kailan sa mga coverage fam.
Hawu kodwa Cyril release umsholozi siyacela. Hawu liyabhubhizwe kanti awuboni yini? Awuboni weCyril ukuthi izwe liyabhubha. Hayibo.
Kahlenbo. Kubi manje inner city akuhambeki. Akunamashop avuliwe. Kubi. Talon Zuma.
So it's now day 4. Day 4 of this widespread violence in South Africa, which erupted in KwaZulu-Natal, Jacob Zuma's home province, and spread from there. Where is Cyril Ramaphosa? Supposedly the president of South Africa. Not a word out of him until today. There's been a release earlier asking for him or threatening, telling people they must behave themselves. But where has he been? Not on television. Finally, an adult steps into the breach today with a statement from Buthelezi, the founder of the Inkatha Freedom Party and one of the most senior Zulus in all of South Africa, who steps forward and issues a public statement telling people that they're destroying their own country, that lawlessness should be not tolerated. Will the state act? Well, the state is not going to act. Apparently, lives will be lost at some point at the rate that the state officials have failed to do anything to quell this violence, this looting, this lawlessness. Meanwhile, this pandemic will only grow, most likely. South Africa's government needs to step up to the plate. Ramaphosa is due to address the nation here in just a few hours. In about 3 hours South Africa time, he will be addressing the nation. He's going to extend the lockdown, probably make it even tighter, probably make some empty threats against looters and those perpetuating violence across South Africa, but nothing's going to be done. The government is cowardly. The cowardly lion needs a heart. Let's get Cyril Ramaphosa a heart. In closing, folks, all I can say is that you just can't keep up with this. It's absolute chaos. There's so many reports coming in. How organized and planned are these activities? Are they spontaneous? Are these all organized ahead of time as the factional fighting inside the ruling African National Congress spills out into South African streets, jeopardizing life and limb? And now we have the first unconfirmed report of a murder as a consequence of this. Reportedly, a security guard is murdered in Johannesburg. And you see this photograph of a man under a blanket appears. But we don't know the provenance of it. We can't confirm that story. But this is bound to happen. There is bound to be loss of life given this level of violence and no response from the state. You do see here some police officers responding to a car looting, finally, and shots fired.
Yeah!
But let's be clear about something here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's be very clear about something here. The excuse is Jacob Zuma, but the reality is that this is a referendum on the malfeasance, the corruption, the state capture, the failure to deliver, the broken promises, the racialization of society by the African National Congress, a party that has failed to transition from a liberation movement into a proper political party. It has instead become a gangster organization that pilfers from the people and fails to deliver, with their policies designed to enrich their friends and family, their cadres, and leave the rest of South Africans starving. If you think that the ANC cares about black South Africans, you are really delusional. They do not. If you think Jacob Zuma cares about black South Africans, you're also delusional. If he cared, he wouldn't have stolen so much money, built himself a palatial mansion, and also done all the evil things he did for behalf of the Guptas and all the other things. He's not even in jail for that. He's in jail for his contemptuous view and his behavior in ignoring a court order to go to a commission to testify in front of a commission that he created to deal with state capture. So if he actually cared about black South Africans, he would have gone there. And if he had done something wrong, he simply could have invoked his rights to not incriminate himself. But no, his arrogance is what has him in jail, not his purported crimes or his alleged crimes. Make no mistake, This is pent-up National Coronavirus Command Council lockdown response. This is pent-up ANC failure. This is anger with the African National Congress. Zuma is just a convenient excuse for this all blow up. Until now, the convenient excuse has been the success of the ANC in racializing South African politics and blaming white South Africans, or colored or Indian, but primarily whites, for their failure, for people's poverty, for their illiteracy, for the lack of paved roads, for the lack of electricity, for the lack of opportunity. They blame it on apartheid and Jan van Riebeck. Well, Jan van Riebeck died centuries ago, and apartheid died 30 years ago. The ANC's been in charge for nearly 3 decades. They are the failures. They are the responsible. And this is the consequence of a failed state, which is what the African National Congress is turning South Africa into. A lawless, failed state. This is an internal ANC fight. Unfortunately, others will pay the price for this nonsense. If you're not a subscriber to Chris Wyatt Africa, hey, why not become one? You get objective, honest, balanced reporting on Africa and focus on Southern Africa especially, as well as the actors who involve themselves in and are part of activities in Africa, like larger nations like the United States and China.
Yeah.